Welcome to Skagit Valley College E-Learning and Moodle orientation. This video is going to cover Valley College webpage, the MySVC webpage, MySVC email, and then we'll go into a practice Moodle course so that you can get a general overview of the type of tasks that you'll be expected to be able to do in your classes. So to begin, we are here on the Skagit Valley College webpage. As displayed on the screen, you'll notice that there is a little navigation bar here. So there's a link to Moodle 2, to MySVC, which has additional student resources. There is a schedule and catalog link. And then there's also a way for you to request transcripts. So when you have a few moments, I suggest that you go to www.skagit.edu and begin kind of exploring what is on this page, the information that's available to you. Notice that there's a calendar here. You can click on View All Events to see further information or greater detail. For today, I'm going to go ahead and select MySVC, and this brings us to the MySVC webpage. Note that under News and Information column, you can use a schedule search to look for your class. So if you have questions about whether your class will be using Moodle as the primary, using another LMS or learning management system to deliver the course content, you would simply click on the link. It'll show quarter, department, course number, section, and so forth. Below the links for e-learning classes, you'll see that there are also e-learning orientations, which are available currently on the Mount Vernon campus. And then for fall, winter, and summer, they will be available both on the Mount Vernon campus and the Whidbey Island campus. Down at the very bottom of that same column, you'll see Student Online Support that provides additional support. So if you have questions about password or not being able to access a resource in your class, so forth, you'll be able to either do a live chat with them, you can send them an email. They also have a phone number, and then they are available in the library foyer on the Mount Vernon campus Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Most of you who are watching this have not logged in to email, Moodle, or any of the computers here on campus. So there is a column labeled Help Center, and it has first time MySVC, Moodle, and email instructions. You also have information on pay for print, so that's something that we did implement on the Skagit Valley College campus. $2 is added to your account each quarter, and so you can use that money towards printing. If you need additional printing, then you can add money to your account in a couple different ways. One of them is available online, or there are pay for print stations on the Mount Vernon campus as well as on the Whidbey campus. If you want to access any information in the student toolbox, you'll be asked for your student ID or SID and your personal identification number or your PIN. If you're having difficulties remembering those or finding those, you can select SID and PIN help here. And the important thing to note regarding your password is that we are no longer providing a default password for students. which means that before you'll be able to access email, Moodle, or computers on campus, you will have to create a password. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and select My Gmail. This is your My SVC email account. It will be the first letter of your first name, the last 4 digits of your student ID number, followed by @mysvc.skagit.edu, and then you will enter in the password that you have created. If you have an existing Gmail account, you'll need to make sure that you are signed out of that, and you do not want to select Create a New Account. So this would be roughly what your MySVC email account would look like. For those of you that have a personal account or a Google Mail account, it will look very similar. If you count, many of the features will also be similar. Notice that there's a compose button, which will be how you would type an email to your instructor, to someone that's in one of your classes, to get a hold of registration or financial aid or counseling, so forth. There is a To box here, and then there's a subject line. This would be where you type the body of your message, and then you would select Send at the very bottom. These are people who have emailed, and then this is the subject line of those emails. You can create folders on the left-hand side to organize by class or by quarter if you choose. There's also additional settings that you can look at for more customization of your email. And that's under the gear icon that is labeled Settings. And the other important part of your MySVC email account is the Google Apps that is part of your Gmail account. So if you select in the upper right hand corner, there are tiles, and when you hover over those tiles it says App. If you select there, one of the things that the college is endorsing is Google Drive, and essentially you would click on that link and be able to set up one area where you save all of your documents, PowerPoints, videos, and so forth for your classes, and then you'll have access to them from any computer, regardless of location, as long as there's internet access. So you would just log into your MySVC email account and then be able to access your Google Drive. So it's a really nice feature that's built in, saves students time, and again can be accessed from any computer that has internet access. Your MySVC email account is also the primary way that your instructors will be communicating with you, so it's really, really important. And you can also set it up on a personal device or phone if you choose. That way, you know, if class is canceled, if there's a change to the syllabus, you have all of that information coming to something that you're checking regularly. For now, I'm going to go ahead and sign out of my MySVC email account. And I am going to go to Moodle. So notice that there is a Moodle 2 icon here on the MySVC webpage. It is also available here on the Skagit webpage. So 2 locations that you can access. You will enter in the same username and password The important part for Moodle is that you do not have to add the @mysvc.skagit.edu to the end of your username. If you have any questions about that, Student Online Support can assist you. So once logged in, you will see My Courses, and here in black is Test 344. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and that'll bring me into my Moodle course, and that will be where I will demonstrate some of the features that you'll use as a student in Moodle. Okay, so this is the Moodle practice site that I use for training. Many of your classes will look very similar to this. There'll likely be something called the news forum. This is where your instructor will post really important announcements regarding the class. So if class is canceled for any reason, again, if there's changes to the syllabus, changes to the room location, or so forth, they would likely put that in the news forum. You'll be able to view that, announcements that are made from the news forum. You will not be able to reply to your instructor in a news forum, so that's something important to note. I'm going to use the breadcrumbs at the top to select Test 344, which is kind of a short name for the course and allows me to just take one step back. In the top module, there'll probably also be a syllabus for you to read. So this notes that it's a Word document, and if you click on the title, the syllabus will open here for us. So most syllabi are basically the same. They'll have ways to contact your instructor, what's expected of you in the class, the type of assignments, the way in which you'll be graded, their office hours, and so forth. And then oftentimes they'll also have a course schedule. I'll go ahead and close that, and that's just going to close the Word document that I have open. So you could also print that, and that's definitely something that would be recommended so that you can reference it whenever you need to. Back in Moodle, I'm going to go to Week 1 Introductions. Notice that it says Introductions, and it has these two dialog boxes. And that is essentially a forum where you will be expected to interact with your instructor and or other students from your class. So I'm selecting Introductions, and notice at the top there will be information on what it is that the instructor would like to have you complete. This particular item does not have a due date and is worth 10 points. So I'll select Add a New Discussion Topic, and if you wanted to post to a forum, you would do the same. Here we can put in a subject line. And then I'm just typing in this message text field, and this will be what the other students or the instructor will read. And then you also have the option to add a file, which is less common but may be a requirement of the forum. So make sure that you read the instructions above before selecting Post to Forum. I get a little dialog box that tells me that my post was successful and I have 30 minutes to edit. And then now below add a new discussion topic, we will see my subject line and who posted that discussion and whether or not there are any replies from my instructor or from other students within the class. It also has a time and date stamp. So essentially, all of the students would be responding to this, and most often I'll see a requirement of posting your own discussion or forum and then replying to 2 other students. If I select the subject title, that will allow me to view the content, and if this were another student, I would be able to select reply, but I'm not actually going to reply, so I'm just going to select test 344, and that will bring us to the main page of our Moodle site. There are 2 assignment types that are common in Moodle. The first type is something that will provide instructions or something for you to read, a page number to reference in your textbook or so forth. At the very bottom, you will have Add Submission, which you will click. And notice that there is a text box at the very bottom. So you will be able to reply to questions that are asked, provide a summary, explain how something is related to something that has been discussed in class, something of that nature. So you'll be able to do that here. If you had something composed already, you could do a copy and paste into this text box. Please note that if something is coming from Word, all of the formatting may not transfer over identically. But typically, if they provide a text box for you to type in, they're looking more for content, not necessarily the structure. Save changes. I'll go ahead and click that now. And at the very bottom, you'll notice this green section that says Submitted for Grading. And then when I submitted here, and then depending on how your instructor has it set up, you may have an additional opportunity to edit your submission. But most commonly, I do not see that. Most instructors will give you one opportunity to submit, and then you'll be graded on that. So make sure to really read your syllabus, familiar with the requirements prior to posting or submitting an assignment. I'll select test 344 from the breadcrumbs and go back to the front page of my Moodle course. Now, the second type of assignment would be if your instructor wants you to submit a document. So notice there is still the Add Submission button here at the bottom. It looks like our instructor had us has questions that he or she would like us to answer. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight those. And on a PC, I'm going to right-click and say Copy. And then I'm going to open up a Word document. I'll select Blank. And then I can right-click and paste. And this just simply takes the questions that the instructor provided and shows them to me in a Word document so that I can answer those questions without having to retype them. For the first answer, I can type below. I can go to question 2. And once I've answered all of the questions required, I can go over to the File tab, select Save As, and just for today's demonstration, I'm going to select Desktop. And this is going to be assignment 2 for test 344. And save. If your instructor has specific requirements about the file type, you also have a drop-down menu where it says Save As Type, and selecting the arrow in that drop-down menu, you can choose PDF, which is a very common file type. There's also rich text format or plain text format. For today, I'm going to go ahead and leave it as a Word document format and select Save in the lower right-hand corner. And since I've saved this document, I'm going to actually go ahead and exit out of Word. So I'm back to Moodle where the assignment 2 page is, and I'm going to select Add Submission. And notice that there is an Add button here. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And depending on the browser, the word may be Browse or Choose File. And I'm going to select Desktop from the left. And here is my assignment 2, test 344, which I just created. If I click on that once, notice the file name goes down here, and then I will select Open. Now part of that assignment name is here, and I will select Upload this file. We will now see the Word document in this box under File Submission and select Save Changes. Again, like assignment 1, we will get submitted for grading. When it was due, the date that I submitted, and then again, we may or may not see this Edit My Submission button depending on how the instructor has his or her course set up. With assignments, only your instructor will be able to view your assignment. No other students will be able to view them, so I just feel like that's an important thing to note. I'm going to use the breadcrumbs at the top and select Test 344, again to go back to the main page of my Moodle site. And the last item that I'm going to show within Moodle is a sample test. Testing formats can vary greatly, but they can be in any format that you would see in a regular face-to-face class. They can be multiple choice, they could be true and false, they could be fill in the blank, matching, short essay, or standard essay format. Most instructors will provide that information prior to the quiz or test or exam. I'm going to select the title here. I'll be brought to another page that tells me that I have 3 attempts at this particular quiz. I'm going to select the Attempt Quiz Now button, and you would do the same if you are ready to take your quiz. This pop-up box tells you that you have 3 attempts. Some instructors may only give you 1, so that'll be an important piece of information to clarify by either contacting the instructor, rereading the syllabus, or referencing the instructions that are provided. Start attempt. And here are the questions. The ones that I'm demonstrating for you today are multiple choice and true false. The top sentence will be the question, and then the answers are below as follows. So we can read the question and then answer. And perhaps this question was tricky for me. I could flag that question if I wanted to go back to it at a later time. The important thing about flagging is that you want to remove the flag before submitting, otherwise you will not be able to submit your quiz, test, or exam. So I'm going to go ahead and just simply click on the flag a second time, and that'll remove the flag. There is a Next button, and depending on how your instructor has his or her quiz, test, or exam set up, they may or may not allow you to go forward and backward. But if it's a longer exam or quiz, the Next button has a built-in save feature. So I'm going to go ahead and select Next. Notice that it says question 1, answer saved, question 2, answer saved, question 3, not yet answered. So I can select return to attempt, since my instructor has set up my quiz that way. Notice I still have time before my quiz expires, and there's also a quiz navigation on the far left hand side. I can select the number 3, and that will take me directly to that question. And then selecting Next will allow me to go to the page that will allow me to select Submit. And once you are either approaching the time limit or you've answered all of the questions, you will select Submit All and Finish. The pop-up that comes up says that once you submit, you won't be able to change any of your answers, and if you're okay with that, you would select Submit All and Finish, which I'm going to go ahead and do now. And then depending on how your instructor has his or her exam set up, you may go right into a review of the quiz, test, or exam, which may or may not show you the correct answer and what you selected. It may or may not show you a grade. Oftentimes, if it's short answer or essay format, the grade will be delayed until the instructor has had time to review your individual response. At the bottom, I'll go ahead and select Finish Review because I see what I've missed. And then depending again on those quiz settings, we may be able to reattempt the quiz or perhaps this would be our final grade. Some instructors choose to use a course calendar within Moodle, which relates to the assignment due dates. If your instructor does use the calendar feature, the course due dates for specific items would display in this salmon color, while other things that are going on the Mount Vernon, Whidbey, San Juan, or South Whidbey Center would be displayed in green. You may also see a navigation called Activities, and with the following resources: assignments, forums, quizzes, and such. That would be a quick way to jump to exactly the item in which you wanted to complete. If you're doing a fully online class, maybe you want to get ahead for the week, so you would select assignments and be able to complete several assignments without having to scroll up and down on this main Moodle page. You may also have a block called Participants, which may or may not allow you to see other students within your class. There may be additional items on the left or on the right, just depending on what your instructor has chose. So once you're able to go into your class, spend some time just becoming familiar with any items that are unfamiliar or you have questions on. You can contact student online support or ask your instructor. It's really important, especially if this is your first online class or partially online class, to log into Moodle several times a week. Make sure that you know the due dates, you ask questions when you have them. And the other item that I would mention is that Moodle classes are not available until the first day of the quarter. So if you do not see any classes under your My Courses when you log into Moodle, don't panic. Your instructor may not have made them available to students yet. Identification